Hello.
Hello. Guys, thank you for coming in. This is a podcast studio space offered by Faro Energy Services and Assault Chemical. Faro's their frac fleets, and then they've got chemical division, Assault. So thank you, Josh McCollum and Scott and all the people at Faro for this space. Call this the Talking Energy Show.
Yep.
We got this going quite a while back, really just to give another platform for the oil field tailgate, to draw in people and energy education,
Yeah, for
which
sure.
we've all gotten into now.
I think that's the big thing is the education part of it, talking to a lot of people recently that don't understand kind of the upstream to the midstream to the downstream. And so it's nice having a platform where we can, talk about the different things that we do.
Well, introduce yourself
Yeah.
before we get too far in the weeds.
Scott Casso, Casso Land Imaging Services.
I'm Eric Casso, Casso Land Imaging Services.
They're brothers.
Yeah, brothers.
And I really just brought Scott's brother in here so he would just tell stories about
Yeah.
Scott.
Ooh, and there
Oh, yeah.
are a plenty. There are a
Energy
plenty.
education seems secondary. What do I have here in front of me?
That's right.
It's actually a therapy session for both of us.
Yeah, what's one story that he's begged you never to tell?
You have my permission. Go.
Oh,
go.
really? You
go
got
with,
one?
Go with whatever you
Okay,
want.
good.
Go with
All right.
whichever one you want.
When he was 17 years old.
17. Okay, well, all is forgiven. The,
That's right.
the time
17
limit-
years old.
Time limit's run out.
I get a phone call from my dad, and he goes, "Did you buy your brother beer?"
No.
No, sir. Of
No,
course
sir.
not. Absolutely not. I would
stole
never.
that.
No, it was
Never.
a gas station on 23rd Street. That
I,
didn't
I
ID
would
anybody.
never. And he calls and lets us know that Scott has been involved in a high-speed pursuit. He's led the Guthrie police on a 6-mile chase. It ended up on I-35. His front windshield's been broken out. He got dragged through the driver's side door, slammed on the front of the car, all for drinking long neck bottles.
Man, you ever think that all they wanted you to do was hand over the bottles and dump it out?
The cop said that he had a 17-year-old daughter that he had dropped off at the football game, and he knew what they were doing. He had just picked her up from a party, and he said, "I would have made you dump everything out. Maybe
That's it.
worst case, call your parents."
That's
it.
That's it. Fight or flight took over.
You're a flight
Well,
guy.
I was actually on a podcast the other day talking about this. In high school, at least what we did, you'd get the knock on the front door, look out, see the cops, you look out the back door, and you got 50 high school kids hopping fences and running. So that was just what you do. It's just the first time that
Standard operating procedure.
that happened in a vehicle.
Well, I taught my kids just, stand your ground, just say yes or no, sir.
Yep.
Hey, there's consequences. Those kind of consequences I can't imagine.
Wild times.
Wild
Yes.
times. Well, I'm glad you're the grown-ass man you are now.
That's right.
Successful in oil and gas.
I appreciate it.
You've done a lot since I met you.
Absolutely.
And I'm never surprised anymore. I'm just, always like, good job.
Well, you too. The conversations we've been having as of late,
There's a lot going on in oil and gas right now.
Absolutely.
It's exciting times.
Yep, super
Absolutely.
exciting times. All the different people that come on your podcast and, all of those types of things is exciting for us to see on this side. All the different people doing their fun stuff and getting after it right now.
Yeah. Well, 30,000 foot view, how'd you even come into oil and gas, in energy, if you will? at
Yeah,
this point?
I was working at a restaurant bar, actually S&B Burger Joint. I was managing their Norman location before it burnt to the ground. I had nothing to do with it burning to the ground, even though I got a number of phone calls because it was shortly after I quit. I think it was an electrical fire, but I had a buddy coming in and sitting at the bar, hanging out about 3 p.m, doing his landman stuff on his computer. And I was like, man, I want to do that. I don't want to work at S&B's anymore. They've got great burgers, but I don't want to be here forever. I had a college degree and ready to do something. And he brought me out into the field. I worked for a little bit, went up to a management position pretty quickly. Not a lot of oversight out in the field, not a lot of, standardization of what a full day of work, is out in these courthouses doing landman work. He broke up with a girlfriend, and I made him move back from Colorado. He was at the base of
Peak 9 in Breckenridge.
Yeah.
I was living that ski bum life.
So it was a hard sell. But I
Hospitality
said,
management, and you say it was a hard sell.
Yeah.
He looks at me one day and he goes, "Do you want to live for about a quarter of the cost of living and make twice as much as you're making?" And I went, we should try it.
Yeah,
At
you can
least
still go
give it a
visit
try."
up there and go
Yeah,
skiing.
100%. That was my
Nothing wrong with
justification
that.
as well. Yeah,
it's just
absolutely.
different. How many days in a row did you ski?
125 days in a
25 days
row
or
out on the
something,
mountain.
so
I
it
can
was a
ski
little bit of
backwards
an
now.
ask. It was a little bit of an ask, but had him move back. He had broken up with a girlfriend, and he moved back. and came on with the company I was working with at the time, and rose out in the field.
Yep.
Same story, very similar. Became a manager really quickly once he got out there. We were doing this for a long time. We did notice a little bit of lack of technology being applied out in the field.
Absolutely.
It was simple things like using large file sharing systems to share stuff immediately, and some of those were kind of new. I mean, this is 10 years ago that we started, so like Dropbox was just kind of emerging and things.
Yeah,
like that.
Before we okay, so just tell everybody like elevator pitch.
Yes.
What your company is.
You have paper.
Does.
You have paper. We want to digitize it. So primarily, we started out with land management.
Every courthouse across the United States has all of these documents,
land documents associated with ownership.
Yep.
It has mortgages for, everybody that's filed a mortgage and all of those different types of things. But it's also got every, lease and deed and all of those, documents that play into.
And they're crumbling quickly.
Yep.
Yes.
And in Oklahoma particularly, there's
and they're not going to spend money on government resources to go.
They don't have much. You talk to these clerks, even in these busy oil
They're not
and gas
do it
areas, and they've saved a quarter out of every document that's filed, into their preservation fund, and they've stacked up $10 or $20 or $30,000. But you come in and you look at thousands of books that need to be digitized, and it just barely touches the surface of what they need done. Running into the same thing with the court clerks, all the probates and all of those super essential documents, all sitting in an old vault somewhere, getting degraded and falling apart. So we take paper, we digitize it. That's kind of the main focus. I made a post earlier today on LinkedIn. People have been asking, they're like, oh, you guys do all the aerial stuff or the seismic, and no. We do paper. We have feet on the floor. We're in courthouses. We're opening books up, and we're taking photos of those types of things, handing that off to a landman to run title on. And then we developed a backfile scanning division. So we go in with operators, other oil and gas companies, attorneys. We go in and digitize their land files, their well files, and bring kind of a digital library to them. So it's been a fun kind of transition in what we've been doing. It's helped offset the ups and downs of the field work with oil and gas by having something a little more stable.
So once you have all of this documentation now, here's where you guys can get really big really quickly. You have this massive amount of information and data at your fingertips.
Yep.
And with AI, the accuracy is growing on what it can do. It can look through all your documents for you and find information.
Yep.
And that the finding, because, hey, a photo of a page from a book you took years and years ago, cool, it's in there somewhere in this cloud folder. Good luck.
Yep.
Right.
And now you can take all of your files that you've ever made.
Up until this year, it was just a digital library. That's all it was. You just walk in and it's a computer instead of the warehouse full of documents. You still have to search and find. You may be able to, OCR keyword search one thing or the other, but, the leaps and bounds we've made just this year, seeing companies like Collide and Roland and all those guys that are out there doing this stuff, it's amazing what they are, doing in a very short amount of time. So I keep saying I'm excited for the stuff that I've seen in the last 6 months, but honestly, I'm even more excited for what we're going to see in the next 3 months. I
got a buddy I need you to talk to because he can now write AI apps on blockchain.
Huh.
So instead of this AI app being up in the cloud, the AI app is on the blockchain, so it's even that much faster.
Yeah,
Crazy. Wow.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
But you can write an app just for you. Yep. That like, hey, we see all this stuff out there, but this piece is missing this. Every time you download something, it's like, man, I wish I had this and I wish I had that. And now you can do that for just what you do.
Yep.
If you can think of it nowadays, if you can dream it, you can build it.
You can build it. Absolutely.
And data is so important right now. It's helping people make quicker decisions, more informed decisions. I'm sure even with Nightfire, the more data you guys have,
it's pretty tight-lipped on that. We love being in the space we're in. I think our industry has really come a long way into, the entire cultural shift, if you will. Whenever I came on with Steven, it was, hey, we love the idea of possibly having fire suppression, but that was never on anybody's AFE. Mm-hmm. It's not something that they're going to, it's more like, well, if our insurance forces us to, or if regulatory forces us to, we'll probably get that map. But, until then, it's like, well, we'll call you if we need you.
Yeah.
And it's a knee jerk. Oh crap, our stuff's on fire.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A little too late.
Every time.
A little too late.
So now it's more like, What could we do to let's go ahead and think about protecting this facility we're building.
Yeah.
Way ahead of time. And then they're going out and talking to regulatory, and they're talking to insurance people, and like, hey, we don't need regulatory. We're fixing this before we need it. Insurance, hey, we're being proactive. Would you consider, alleviating some of our costs with, within our, our fees?
It's kind of a hard sell, with the it's like you can't always conceptualize when you're going to need it, or if you're going to, our rigs will never start on fire. We'll never have any sort of issue like that until it happens. But
if we're truly a safety first industry, let's just always consider like it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, and are we prepared? And that's at least a way better, thing. And it's the same thing with data, like, hey, you guys, it's backups, all of the things you're doing. It's not a if, it's a when. Let's go ahead and get everything digitized that we can find.
And a lot of the scanning stuff, even more so than the land work, is that way, where it's like, hey, this warehouse is full of stuff, but 95% of it we never need to look at. We won't go looking for, but it needs to be safe and secure, and in a form that can be easily transferred to somebody. So.
And be accessible to find that data.
Yeah.
Good night. What's something that is taken off with you guys that is growing you, that people are really like, okay, I need you to do this, this, and this. And
this work with the operators and the work with the tech companies, because we're not developing anything internally. We're not developers. We don't have a team of developers. We're not working on anything. Yeah, we're not working on anything AI related ourselves, but we're working closely with these people that are building these AI models and doing things specifically in oil and gas. We actually have a good relationship with some people outside of oil and gas that do similar data management, document management systems, things like that. But the oil and gas ones are really, really cool to us, and we see that taking off. The operators that we have worked with that are harnessing their data and starting to see what that looks like, even at the infancy stages, are just going to be leaps and bounds above what these other guys are. There's no more walk into the warehouse to pull a file. There's no, and it's beyond that. It's being able to query and ask these documents questions, have them create forms for you, all the other things that go into it. So that's been really, the last year for me has been so fun working with the operators and the tech companies that are, building their stuff out. And it may be like a, internet bubble that happens and it all goes away at some point, but I'm glad to be on the ride with all of it. And it's cool to see all of these hardworking people that have the same mindset. My brother and I wake up first thing in the morning, we go into work, we sit there and we get after it. And it's never sitting there bitching and moaning about like actually being there at work. Now there's headaches that come up, but I see that with the other people we're working with, that are, they're, some of these founders are sleeping in their warehouses. We're so dedicated to what we're doing right now. We're going to be here as much as we need to be, 60, 70, 80 hours a week, if that's what it takes to get this up off the ground. We both came from outside of oil and gas. He was in hospitality. I was working at a restaurant, and now, we're in a position to take part of.
At least he knows how to make you a good burger when you're hungry.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I just always threw him in the deep fryer.
After I get out of here, I might need a deep fried burger.
Yeah, there you go. That's an Oklahoma thing for sure.
That's funny. The next thing is like, how many more people do you see you need to bring on in the future?
So that's interesting.
I know you're growing.
When I was first starting the business, I had this idea that I wanted to have 100 people. I wanted to, have 100 people in total working with us. I thought that was a cool number. At the time I was working with maybe 4 or 5 guys, and I was like, man, how cool would it be to walk in somewhere and have 100 other people sitting there working, Mm-hmm. And as time has changed, that number has changed a little bit. I would like to have a team of 20 people that do the same amount of work as 100 people. And I think that's becoming more and more the future of this, where we used to have 10 or 20 technicians out in the field doing oil and gas work. We can do the same with, 5 to 10 right now. Where it really starts to change is when we bring on more and more scanning projects, the more and more techs we need. Because we're the type of company that isn't going to say, hey, there's a group in front of you and your stuff's going to take 6 months. We're starting this immediately. You're starting to get production out immediately. You can start reviewing these documents. The developers can start messing with the back end that they need to have it feed into the systems that it's going into. And so it's all about that kind of rolling production with us. So, at some point we may need 100 people working if we get that size of, scanning scanning projects, but I still think with the technology that's coming out and the way that we're harnessing, our team and leveraging this technology, that we can still do a lot with just a few people.
Advancements in technology, as we were talking, the blessing and the curse. It's both. It's allowing us to, as Scotty's saying, we can do more with less. We can be much more efficient with less.
Yeah, I mean,
which is great.
if you had it, set up, one way, I mean, I don't know if they would do it, but you could have basically, 1099 consulting kind of people. Like, you can call them and they can just, whatever.
I mean, that's how we're set up currently. So, the oil and gas
would the clerks be able to do it? Like, hey, man, there's somebody in an office somewhere sitting for the government. Like,
the clerks for sure could do that, but it's, convincing Kathy that's 65 years old.
Like, hey, I just need you to take pictures of every single page while you're sitting here, and I'll pay you for that on the side. And will the government get mad about that? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a curious question.
Sure.
It's an interesting carrot to dangle in front of them, but I think Kathy out in X County, Oklahoma, doesn't feel the need to. They don't see the benefit of it, and
Come on, Kathy.
Yeah,
come on,
you
Kathy.
are bidding.
I think I actually picked the name of no clerk in existence that I know.
Oh, smart. Yeah, good. Yeah, you don't want to
start
offend
actually
anybody.
naming them. They'll put our orders at the end of the list.
Yeah, you haven't offended anybody since you were 17.
That's right. That's right.
It's been fun, growing the business together as brothers is an interesting dynamic. He's my older brother. We basically quit and started the company the same day.
The conversation was, Eric, you have to quit your job today.
Yeah.
was the conversation.
Some guys out of Tulsa were tired of driving down to Grady County, Oklahoma, and they approached me and him and said, hey, we want to use you guys. And we said, we'll refer you to our company. They said, no, we want to use you guys. We see you showing up at 8 o'clock in the morning when the doors open. We see you here at 4 o'clock in the afternoon when they're closing. We know we can call and get a probate request at 3:30 in the afternoon on a Friday if we need it, And that's how we've always kind of structured the business, is like immediate responses to requests. We work for a manufacturing company, and we digitize all of their invoices and all of their shop tickets, which are the blueprints for all the things that they're creating out there. And I think internally we kind of have this like a 5-minute type of, hey, if the email's in and it's not responded to in 5 minutes, I'm hitting it, and that means you're in trouble.
Right.
And if that happens, then the tech's in trouble. So, we try to get these things really, speed is how these things, efficiency and speed is what's driving all these things forward. Our clients are able to be so good at what they're doing because they order a probate and 5 minutes later they've got it. They order a shop ticket and 5 minutes later they've got it. They're not sitting around waiting and waiting and waiting. And that's what tech all across the board is doing. It's making it so, the drillers and the pumpers and all the people out there can be more efficient and act quicker and not be waiting on, a green light or a check mark or a thumbs up from somebody. Right.
How many more years of scanning do you have in you? I mean, how much paper's out there that hasn't
There's a lot. There's a lot,
right? Like, I'm like curious, right?
And some experience that we've had. We were working with an offshore operator earlier this year, and they told us they will continue to create about the same amount of paperwork moving forward. It's not going to stop for them. All of their drawings they do by hand.
Okay.
And so they're going to continue to do that. A lot of the documents, they've got people in the office that want to sit there and hold them and read them. And so they'll just, it's one of those things where they convinced the right people to move forward with digitizing, but they haven't convinced everyone to just be on board with it. So they're about 50% of the way there, but it's still going to be a lot of paper that's being created. I mean, you've got tons and tons and tons of it out there. Just in Oklahoma at the courthouse level, there is so much out there, and then you go into these operators' offices, and there's even more.
Oh yeah, no one's gotten rid of it.
But it's the last thing. It's the last thing on the budget. It's always the last thing on the budget. So it's a little bit of a hard sell. But the people that approach us,
they know. They're like, wouldn't it be great if I could search this immediately and find
the people that we have to sell to? It's a little bit harder of a, getting them in the door.
Generally, those people have a process that they want executed, and we just fall into place with them and go, cool, let us digitize that for you, let us put it into your already formed process. And yeah, absolutely.
What do you think is your next big play? I mean, are you
outside of oil and gas?
Are you strictly Oklahoma now, or
no, so
you've grown, right?
We do some traveling outside of Oklahoma. The need is state by state. You got some states that did a great job of digitizing their land records, and so they've got just about everything, and so our need is very limited there. And you've got other states that, in the past we hadn't spent a lot of time there, but things like renewables are opening up that door, going into places that we had never been before, areas that just seem so foreign to us. Almost,
there's a lot of land guys I've talked to to because of the lithium, needs.
Yeah.
So that Northwest Nevada area, it's a whole new, giant, thing opening up, where our skill set's now going up to get lithium out of the ground up there. But
and it's cool because
no one's touched those minerals, and they never even thought like, oh, this is going to be a play.
A lot of times in those markets, there's not a lot of landmen around, you know, and so it's another interesting place to be stepping in and saying, hey, we've got the history and the know-how to come in here and do this efficiently. Interesting play with the
geothermal.
Yeah.
I mean, my gosh, anywhere that we really weren't thinking about putting a straw on the ground for oil and gas might be a play for, geothermal energy. And now those are all areas being looked at, and our skill sets going out to, bring those to the surface. I'm not sure that's all interesting to me too, because like, how do they pay the mineral owner for heat?
Sure.
It's great. Like, hey, we want to drill a well in your, in this, but they're not pulling out. Well, I mean, there might be some associated gases, and
if it's like time related, just like, hey, we'll be here for 10 years or 5 years, a 5-year lease, not based off of,
surface only.
Production
would be,
question for a different type of landman.
I know. I'm just, you're going to get me off in the weeds on all these things.
Sure.
I think about it. I have a lot of shower thoughts, Scott.
Yeah. Well, next time we'll just shower together. We can get it, all ironed out at the same time. So.
See, Josh, Josh McCullum's over there. He's always like, what?
It's like, what are they even talking about?
First of all, in high school we all did that anyway because we were in sports, so it wouldn't shock us anymore. On that end, we're getting out of here.
We'll save water. We can talk about problems we're trying to solve.
That's right.
To the bottom of the geothermal issue.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I'm going to kick you guys out of here. I know you got stuff to do, but I just wanted to. How does everybody get a hold of you?
LinkedIn. We're all over LinkedIn. It's funny. I keep saying this. I was on my first podcast ever a couple months ago, and I got really nervous and started saying I told my phone number out by numbers. And my entire email, and it's easy. Just find us on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn's easy.
Please,
Casso.
and thank you.
They're on every platform, of course. What's the website?
CassoLand.com.
CassoLand.com.
Yep.
All right.
Or maybe Casso Imaging. I maybe messed that up. CassoImaging.com.
It's one of those.
LinkedIn. Go find us on LinkedIn.
Don't
look at anything.
LinkedIn is the way.
Yeah, I'll be posting some stuff on the internet.
And Matt, where do people find you?
Oh, yeah. Go to oilfieldtailgate.com. You can also go, just for fun, you go out and buy domains.
Yep.
Do you do that? Like, buy a lot of domains that point back to Casso.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Love that.
Like all the time. So I have, like, Talking Energy Show points back to, I think I own, like, 200 domains that point to different things.
That's great.
Just for fun.
Yeah.
I have a funny story just to end us about the
I love
oil
funny
field
stories. Yeah, give me
tailgate.
stories.
So we're at the tailgate, and me and a landman buddy, and then just a random buddy of ours. We were
Is
looking.
this another story about him?
No, this is
I
about
think
you.
we're all involved here.
So
this is when we first kind of met you.
We had been drinking all day and
I
enjoying.
was drinking.
as one does.
I haven't drank in
as
3
one
years,
does.
but back then, yeah.
Yeah.
And
3 years? I'm almost at
3.
2.
Yeah.
I'm almost at 2.
We show up and we're looking for you all over the place, and we find you. The goal was to take a picture with you.
We needed social media content.
needed social media
You with the
content.
man himself.
Oh,
We were going to
no.
plug it. We were going to do the whole 9 yards. Me and my 2 buddies were so drunk that we had you take the picture of us
Oh, good.
instead of get into the picture.
So
with
it's just
us.
a picture
It's just
of
a
us.
picture of 3 guys at the oil field tailgate.
Not you.
You're not even involved.
And I think maybe
I
we
didn't do
even
anything
said,
wrong.
like, hey, we want to do a picture. And you were like, yeah, sure. And you grabbed
You
it.
took
a
it and
picture of
took
us.
the picture.
So kind.
Yeah,
So kind.
absolutely.
I have so many pictures of me out there anyway. It's like, and if I've been drinking, I'm like, goodness knows what I would have done back then anyway.
Sure,
I was, as soon as the liquid gold touched my lips,
Yep.
I was always very susceptible to being a terrible sinner.
That's right. That's
3
right.
years now, you said you haven't drank?
Yeah, I'm just, I told you about this. I was at one of the Digital Wildcatters events here in Oklahoma City, and I love calling. I love, anybody in our industry.
No, those are some guys that I was, not saying their names earlier, but those are, people that we're working
great
with
people.
closely.
So we were at that Digital Wildcatters event here in Oklahoma City, and I
Tower.
said something, Tower, and he's like, "Oh, I haven't drank in a while. I only drink water." And he looks good, so
Yeah.
he was staying healthy. And I thought, man, I'm just so competitive. I'm like, if he can go without, I can do it too.
Yeah.
So it's really just a competition in my head.
That's what it takes, man. I mean,
Like whatever,
Oh, yeah.
So everybody has their own reasons. It's just me. I'm competitive. Like, if somebody else cannot drink, I can't, just to keep up.
Yeah.
So, if I ever have a cocktail, it'll have to be with him.
Yeah.
It's just to pray, like, I can't lose.
Yep.
Sure.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Thanks
you again, Matt.
Awesome.
Appreciate
Yeah,
you having
thank
us
you so
in.
much.
Right, man.
Appreciate
Hey,
it.
for real, anytime you want to either host your own podcast or you have a friend or a guest that you find interesting, be my co-host, bring them in.
Absolutely.
If I don't even have to be here, I'll show you how to use all this. You saw my pains of getting it set up, but once it is, it's, Gord, you look amazing. Now that I got the lighting right.
Thanks. I disappeared for a minute.
You're not
The
so
blonde
ghostly.
hair.
Not so
I
ghostly.
into the background.
Yeah, I should not turn up the brightness and the contrast very much on you.
No.
Your particular
right.
setting.
That's right.
I saved it, though.
Good.
All right.
Well, thanks again, Matt.
Take care. God bless y'all. We'll see you next time.
See you guys.
Bye.
Fire up the grill, turn the speakers up loud. Red dirt boots stomping in the crowd. Store